Next week, we head to the show capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Folks, last year, over 120,000 fans were on hand to watch the NASCAR Nationwide Series race, and they didn't go home disappointed. What a great move by Mark Martin to win it. First ever win for Junior Motorsports in the year before. How about that great battle between Jeff Burton and Kyle Busch? Folks, that's next week coming your way, 4 o'clock Eastern time on Saturday on ESPN2. Kyle Busch is our leader, and he has led all 26 laps thus far. And while you watch him lead, let's visit with a special guest down in the garage area. Jamie.
Certainly a familiar face, of course, singer, actor, Miley Cyrus's dad, Billy Ray Cyrus, of course, you're the Grand Marshal. What was it like for you saying those famous words in racing?
Well, it was just great to be here, to get back to my Tennessee roots, hence the title of the new album, Back to Tennessee. The single, Back to Tennessee, is doing great on radio, and getting out here and being part of NASCAR really makes me feel like I'm at home. This was a great way to start this weekend and to be a part of this race.
Great to see Billy Ray Cyrus. Of course, he's watching his boy Kyle Busch right now as he leads this race. Doc?
Thank you, Jamie. Accomplished singer, songwriter, actor, and now everybody knows him as Miley's dad.
Yeah. I saw him earlier down in Kyle Busch's pit for the truck race. So I'm sure that's probably where he's headed again if he's wanting to go to victory lane again, the way it's looking right now. Kyle Busch is he's over 5 seconds out front right now. Just lap after lap, he's clipping off, beating these guys about 2/10.
One car that's been making a move since they waved the green flag, and no surprise whatsoever, David Rudiman in the 10 car, and he has gained a total of 17 positions since the start of this race. Making his way toward the front. He's going to probably need a little help from the pit stop to get him up there to be able to have a shot at running down. There is the biggest movers. Michael Annett, by the way, in a backup car after having an accident during qualifying. And there you see Rudiman in the 10 car moving up toward the top 15. Dave.
And Doc, actually, he is 12th right now, chasing down the 12th car in front of him of Allgaier. And his car has been great since the start of the race, but just a little bit on the tight side. Telling crew chief Todd Losey that he needs a big adjustment on that first round of pit stops. They're going to remove a spring rubber from the left rear spring of that car. And Tim Brewer in the Craftsman Tech Garage, I know you've told me 100 times, but how do they do that, and where's that located?
Dave, it's pretty simple. You can reach down here, folks. You actually pull the spring rubber out. But what a lot of the teams are doing, they actually have the spring rubber hanging. So if they've got the thing in there, they can pull the thing out, leave it back in this area right here, where if they need it again, they can reinstall it. But when you're in a deal where the nose is pushing, you're going to take that rubber out, and it's going to take weight off that left rear tire, enabling the car to turn from the center of the corner off.
Just a half a rubber doesn't take much, as Tim was showing, and it can make a big difference for a driver.
Yeah, and you would think, wow, how much difference is that going to make? But it does make a huge difference. Instead of having to worry about adjusting the wedge, which is hard to do on these cars now when they're running these coil binding setups, Andy.
It is, and you know, you're talking about fine adjustments, and you're trying to find just a little bit of balance. It's all about balance, keeping the car where you don't have one end or the other sliding around, and sometimes it's hard to find, but that spring rubber is a great way to tune that chassis.
Yeah, we're about 10 or 12 laps away from pit stops. Another 29 car beginning to make his way back toward the front. He had dropped back a couple more spots and now retakes the 6th position from Mike Bliss.
Yeah, we heard him talk about Jeff Burton's car being loose now, and he talked about it getting looser whenever the sun went down. But what generally happens here in a run is your car generally does tighten up because that fuel load goes off, and so the car starts sliding the nose just a little bit. So it might be coming back to him now. Vince, what's going on there?
That's exactly right, Dale. They just came on the radio and they were talking about the fact that the leaders are backing up to them and the fact that Jeff Burton's car is getting better in the long run. Shane Wilson said, that's good. We'll make sure it's better at the front of the run and we'll be all set to go. So far, it's getting better for Jeff Burton after a very loose start.
Thanks, Vince. Here's a couple of guys that were very familiar with each other at Daytona. These two, the contact triggered the major multi-car accident. Jason Leffler on the inside of Stephen Wallace, as these two guys are running for 14th and 15th position.
Isn't this always the way it works? The guys that get together the week before always seem to find each other the next race.
Every time I ever had a problem with anybody, whether it's my fault or the other guy's fault, we always qualified beside each other. We'd have to be in the truck riding around the pace lap or the pre-race deal before the race. And so if you hadn't aired it out before, that gave you a perfect chance. But these guys are smart. They gave each other a little bit of room, and they forgot about last week.
That was a nice, clean pass. Guys, keep it clean. lane because we're going to go to commercial, or at least until we come back. We're about 10 laps away from pit stops. As the sun's going down and the track is changing, who's going to change what tires and what on the car when we come back? Living